Let me remind them that we are in Ashanti Kingdom, and even if you speak the Queen's language, it is important that you sometimes come back to our level as well. Once again, good morning to you all. Let me acknowledge the presence of one of our solid and unflinching support of one of our patrons, that is Madukia. She's here with us. She's also a member of Cocoa Board, that is a board member. And then let me also acknowledge the presence of the regional executives. I see regional organizer, I see regional communications director, deputy regional youth organizer, and other appointees here. I'm going to deliver in English, and then afterwards, I would also deliver in Twi as well. Timis Remonto Mboasemame. Meaning say stations no do na so far e Twi mu. Enti me poto kakra me wia mesan e de abafom na me de ato Twi ni mu. Good morning, friends in the media fraternity, and then also to all young persons in Ghana. The National Youth Wing of the New Patriotic Party is pleased to have you here upon such a short notice. This media engagement forms part of the activities carried out by the National Youth Wing of the New Patriotic Party on the wheels of the Youth Must Know series initiated a year ago in Koforidua. We have invited you here today to update you on some critical issues pertaining to the ongoing mass registration exercise. You are aware, we need to go through the exercise for almost about 38 days under the auspices of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, and then also to explain to you, the media, and then to fellow youth, the need to go out there in your millions to register and then vote for His Excellency the President, Nana Addo and Dr. Alhaj Mahmoud Bawumia in December 2020. Now, let me start with the mass registration exercise. Fellow youth, distinguished media, as you are aware, the Electoral Commission has started the mass registration exercise across the country. And this exercise is scheduled to, in fact, it started on the 30th of June, that is last 2 weeks, Tuesday, and then it is ending on the 6th of August. So we are talking about some 38 days here. From the most recent update from the EC, the total number of Ghanaians who have successfully registered within the first 12 days stood at 4.4 million. That is according to the EC's data. And with this, we have 62% of the registrants using the Ghana card as proof of identity, and then 1.9 registrants also use the passport as valid document for identification. And then the remaining 35.72% went through the account of the guarantors. From the foregoing, my friends, it can be concluded that the exercise has been largely successful regardless of the initial challenges we had. Indeed, the naysayers, the pessimists, the warmongers have been put to shame. And I'm talking about the NDC and their cohorts. I herewith encourage everyone, especially with the young people, to move out in our millions to make sure that our names are fixed on the voters' register. Very important. If you're unable to register, you cannot vote in December elections. Now, it is also important that whilst we are going through this exercise, we adhere to the COVID-19 protocols. You get to the polling station, you wash your hands first. That is a strict requirement. Then afterwards, you observe the social distancing. The ECs in most places are visited. They have their own demarcations for the social distancing protocols. Then afterwards, you'll be approached by 3 tables. You go through the process, and afterwards, you also be given a hand sanitizer. Even before there is an official from the Ghana Health Service who would also take your temperature with the temperature gun. So please, the Electoral Commission from all the registration centers are visited. Yesterday I was in Yeji, in the Pru East. I went to Pran in the Pru West. And then we came to Atebu Buamantin and then Ejura. And then we were satisfied how people were adhering to the protocols. And every person who had wanted to put his or her name on the register had a face mask. As I said, it's a strict requirement. Ladies and gentlemen, the decision by the EC at the IPAC to register eligible senior high school students on campus using their mobile registration teams was a very good decision. Myself, I visited some schools. Some controversy in there, and I know you want to hear from me. I will speak to that. That decision was very good, and if you checked, the Electoral Commission had put in place to make sure that the COVID-19 protocols were strictly complied with. Now, this decision to have their mobile registration centers on the SHS campuses was because of the global pandemic we have. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a very good decision, and the students leaving campus to register, that is the previous convention we have. The students leaving campus to register with the masses in the communities would have created massive chaos for us. It is important to emphasize that the EC did not create any new registration center. It is very important. In fact, from the explanation given by the Electoral Commission, they did not create any new registration center in any of the senior high schools outside the gazetted list. The EC simply deployed its machine registration teams to the senior high schools that have no centers on their respective campuses to register eligible students. Furthermore, the EC assigned codes of all polling stations that are closer to the campuses to the individual registrants, i.e. the students. In essence, none to obstruct the Electoral Commission from going on to register these SHS students on our various campuses. This is demeaning and shameful because, as I said earlier, we have a global pandemic here with us. We have an unseen enemy. So if for some reason final year students who are on campus are given the chance, the opportunity, and this is a constitutional right, any student that turned 18 years and above is supposed to register. But the NDC is saying no, we agree, because this amounts to a creation of a new registration center. Meanwhile, the body responsible, the constitutional body responsible, preferred a reason, rationalized that decision, and said that we are not creating new registration centers. Yet, the NDC are in court. Interestingly, they don't have a problem with the EC registering prisoners. Interestingly, they are not challenging that. And It is puzzling. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be aware again of the fruitless and juvenile propaganda that the NDC has been engaging in over my visit to some senior high schools in Ashanti region to observe the special registration arrangement by the Electoral Commission. I would want to state for the records that I never campaigned in any of the schools I visited, and I'm happy this position has been corroborated by the Deputy Minister of Education, who also did his further checks, and indeed he spoke on Joy FM and is on my join line that Nana B did not go to the SHS campuses to campaign. I visited these schools as an accredited party official, and I received the official accreditation from the Electoral Commission. Indeed, all political parties obtained the official accreditation from the EC, and some NDC members also visited the SHS campus. In Ashanti region here, we have the NDC's regional secretary who visited Islamic Secondary School, and then even went to Mampong also to visit some campuses also in Mampong. So, I went to these schools with an accreditation, as I mentioned, as an officer of the political party. Again, you recall that under the hand of Cassandra Chum Ampofo, the PRO for Ghana Education Service, in a statement issued on Thursday, 9th July, that all political party representatives seeking to monitor the process on the various campuses, first of all, must be accredited, and secondly, must observe the COVID-19 protocols. Yes, indeed, I went to Kumasi Anglican Secondary School as a party official. I went with my regional youth organizer, and straight away we went to the assembly hall where we engaged the EC officials, we engaged party agents, and then we also, as tradition demand, said hi to the prospective registrants, i.e. the students. And I did not campaign on these campuses. It must be put on record. I therefore entreat the general public to disregard the lies and propaganda from the camp of the NDC on this matter. They find comfort in creating needless trivialities and lame distortions. What is important for all Ghanaians to know, and especially parents, is this: that the NDC has rather proceeded to the law court to obstruct the Electoral Commission from registering their students. Indeed, I heard one of the NDC's lawyers saying that they are hoping to succeed in the court, and that if they succeed, it means all the students the Electoral Commission registered during the special registration process will be nullified. So clearly you can see the intention of the NDC. And you ask yourself, why is it that they don't want these students to register? Your guess is as good as mine. COVID-19 and related issues. Ladies and gentlemen, the government has made giant strides in the management of confirmed COVID-19 cases, as evident in the number of recoveries. According to the data from the Ghana Health Service, out of the 29,000, as of this morning, ladies and gentlemen, 988 confirmed cases, 21,069 persons have fully recovered, leaving us with active cases of 3,782. And unfortunately, we have lost some 139 lives, regrettably. Fellow youth, the NDC's utterances and demeanor gives us accurate impression that they are only interested in making undue political capital out of the COVID-19 pandemic through foul means. This is evident in their numerous shallow criticisms, not backed by science and data, but influenced by ignorance and cheap partisan politics. Yesterday, the National Communications Officer of the NDC yet again polluted the airwaves with its unusual lies, half-baked truth, and deceitful assertions targeted at exploiting the emotions of unsuspected Ghanaians. He contends that not on the basis of any science and data, as I earlier stated, that the schools must be closed down for final year students to go back home because some students have contracted the virus. The youth of MPP at this point, based on available data and science, strongly disagree with the NDC and wish to respond as follows. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll get you some figures. First of all, before our students went to school, you recall that a nationwide disinfection of all schools against COVID-19 was carried out. Mapping of schools to health facilities. His Excellency the President, through the Ministry of Education, also provided all schools with Veronica buckets, soaps, hand sanitizers to all students, and then tissue pipettes. Provided each student, teaching and non-teaching staff, with 3 reusable and washable face masks. Schools to observe social distancing protocols as follows. Tertiary was split, all classes into 2, and we never had any class exceeding 25 students. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we have, when you combine the number of schools, let's take the second cycle institution, we have the number of students on campus now as 580,000. That is the number of staff and then the students in the second cycle institutions. We have 1,169, both public and private institutions. 1,167. And then the number of staff, 90,350. So you know, we are talking about a total second cycle, the number of students, 5, and then plus the staff, 580,502. Now, if you consider nationwide the number of schools with infected cases, 43 schools out of 1,167. 43 schools. Again, the number of students is also 112. So we are talking, and the number of staff too is also 4. So the number of infected cases, students plus staff, we are talking about 114, as against 580,512. Now, the NDC is saying we should close down the schools so that 580,112 persons on our campuses should come to the communities where we have a lot more cases. How is this possible? Don't forget, in our secondary schools, because we have only final years there, we have a lot more space in the dormitories, in the classrooms, dining halls, assembly halls, to adequately put in place social distancing measures. And indeed, because of the enough spaces on campus, some facilities have been earmarked specifically for isolation purposes. So the NDC, not based on any science and data, just talking, that we should unleash 580,000 persons on the various campuses to come and mingle with us. And you know that per this case, we are talking about over 24,000 cases as against 112. So NDE is saying that we should release 112 to come and mingle with over 24,000 cases. Such irresponsible and reckless recommendation from the NDC. The situation is within manageable levels. A sentiment shared by the president of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools and others. Currently, as I've put the figures, over 500,000 students. Now, that none of the students who are positive, that is COVID-19, is sick. That is also an important thing to note. That all of them are asymptomatic. And the refreshing news from the Ghana Health Service as of this morning, the Ministry of Health is in Ashanti region, the Ghana Health Service Director General is here, and then in Fanoche they are visiting some health facilities, and I interacted with them this morning. And the refreshing news is that by close of this week, majority of these students would have been fully recovered. Majority would have been fully recovered. So how is it possible that we should rather release a student who is asymptomatic, who is not sick, to come to our communities to mingle? Again, very irresponsible recommendation from the NDC. It is important to note that the students who have tested positive COVID-19 did not even contract the virus on their respective campuses. This is another strong point. That all of these cases, they brought it from their various homes because of the time they contracted the virus. So you want us to believe, the NDC, they want us to release these students so that they will go back to where they contracted the virus from. That is what they are saying. That we release these students so that they will go back to places where they contracted this from. As I earlier on mentioned, the campuses are well managed, well spaced, the facilities are there, big enough room, because only final years are there for social distancing purposes. Lastly, according to WHO, World Health Organization, the COVID-19 pandemic can be brought under control in 5 years' time. So the NDC is saying that we should suspend critical aspects of our national lives, like education, for the next 5 years. Go to CNN there, and I saw it myself, when the WHO is saying that it will take us 5 years to bring this pandemic under control. So the NDC is saying that we should allow our students to go and sit in the house for 5 years. So you see, their so-called communication bureau, it appears they don't read and they are not privy to these facts. So science and data clearly does not back their claim. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move to another critical area as well. Reasons why the youth must register and vote for President Akufo-Addo. Today, I'll give you only 60 reasons. So have time for me. Only 60 reasons. Only. And I'll leave the rest for other engagement. Only 60. And I challenge the NDC so-called Communication Bureau and their National Youth Wing to come and tell us what former President Mahama and his running mate did for the young people in Ghana. I'm giving them only 1 week. Only 1 week for their so-called communication bureau to come and tell us. After giving just 60, and I'll pause. After the 60, I'll pause. Wait for their responses, and then I'll continue from the 60. As Ghanaians, it is your critical civic responsibility to register and vote during public elections and referenda. Your vote is the most valuable tool you have, and it is more than an expression of how you feel about a particular candidate. In 2016, the youth in Ghana campaigned and voted massively for President Akufo-Addo and his Vice President, Alhaj Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And indeed, this government has kept faith with the youth of Ghana, and this is the more reason why the youth, in all humility, must move in their millions to register and cast their vote for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The MPP today, as I mentioned, will give you 60 life-changing and impactful youth beneficial policies and programs that we just less than 4 years. Number one district, one factory. Over 58 factories out of the 181 under the 1D, 1F initiative have been completely operationalized. And as I speak, I can give you a figure of 10,983 direct jobs created and 43,900 indirect jobs created. Under the NDC, what did they do for employment? Indeed, they could only put up just 1.5 factories or so. And even the Commander Sugar Factory, as I speak, is it working? No. But all our factories are working. That is the legacy of the incompetent former president. Number 2, NAPCO. A whopping 100,000 young persons have been employed under the various models of NAPCO by the government of President Akufo-Addo. And in Ashanti region alone, we have 25,000 beneficiaries. In Ashanti region alone, 25,000 beneficiaries. And this is a life-transforming policy. I was part of the operations team when we were inaugurating NAPCO. And I interacted with a lot of young people who said they had completed school 6 years, 5 years. A lady was with a child. And for 4 years, not even 50 Ghana cedis a month. For some, not even 100 Ghana cedis a month. His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the MPP, with just one blow of a policy, comes up with 100,000 jobs for young people. Number 3, Youth Employment Agency. Youth Employment Agency. Oh, Okunkom is here. Oh, Okunkom is here. YEA has employed over 70,000 young persons under the community protection personnel, aerobic instructors and sanitation model, youth in sports model in the districts across the country. Under the NDC, what did they do? JIDA was always hit with scandals. And as I speak, the former CEO is in prison. All they did was to dissipate our resources in a very bizarre manner. But under the leadership of lawyer Justin Kodia Frimpong and the board chairman Samuel Uku, YEA's image is at all-time high. That is not the only thing under YEA. Number 4, YEA's Job Center platform, region flagship projects, and artisan directory has enabled thousands of young people across the country to secure sustainable jobs in a short to medium term. That is not the only thing under IEO. Number 5, financial support to 1,000 athletes. I will get to a point where I will tell you why youth infrastructure, youth development under MPP all-time best. I'll tell you, and this is one of the reasons why. Again, recruitment of teachers. From 2007 to date, the MPP government, ably headed by the President and the Minister of Education, recruited 84,549 teaching staff, including the special recruitment of 8,872 persons on the wheels of the free SHS policy. Over 9,000 of these recruitment are in Ashanti region. 9,000 of teachers are from Ashanti region. Under the NDC, teachers were recruited because they claim that because of some IMF policy, they could not recruit. In less than 3 years, ladies and gentlemen, fellow youth, this is what we have done. Recruitment of non-teaching staff, that is number 7. Between 2007 and now, we have recruited 1,445 persons. Jobs under the Educational Support Program. This is also under Okunkom. YEA partnered GES to recruit 7,700 young persons under the Educational Support Program. Now, nurses, number 9, recruitment of nurses. Between 2007 and 2009, MPP party, MPP government, Nana Addo and the Ministry of Health, we have recruited 54,000 nurses. And don't forget that again, nurses were not recruited under NDC because of the same IMF conditionalities. Number 10, recruitment of other health workers. The MPP government from 2017 to date has recruited 18,000 health workers. Number 11, recruitment of environmental health officers. Upon receipt of financial clearance, the Ministry of Sanitation has concluded the recruitment processes of 1,174 environmental health officers and assistants for the MMDAs. Recruitment of extension officers. Over the last 2 years, the Ministry of Agric has recruited 2,700 extension officers, leading to the improvement of the extension officer farm ratio from 1 to 1,980. A huge achievement. And in Ashanti region alone, we have 400 of these extension officers here with us. Number 13, recruitment of security personnel. You take the prison services, immigration, police, and fire service. Under the MPP, we have recruited 12,000 security personnel, and out of which we have 1,005 here in Ashanti region alone. Number 14, investment and jobs under the Ghana Automotive Development Policy. Government launched this initiative in August 2019. The policy has so far attracted investment and commercial interest from OEMs, that is original equipment manufacturers, including Toyota, VW, Nissan, Renault, Hyundai, Sinotruk, and Suzuki. The policy also supported existing local auto assembliers such as Kantanga Group. Today, VW has commenced the sale of vehicles assembled in Ghana. President Akufo-Addo has also directed all government institutions to buy vehicles from these factories, assembling factories. This will translate into jobs for the youth. There's no way my mother will be sitting here and I'll not talk about Cocoa Board. Job creation in Cocoa Board. Through the implementation of the various Forestry Commission, may the soul of my uncle, Sir John, rest in perfect peace. 30,500 jobs were expected to be created. And let me explain this here. Very important, please. Under the NDC, they had what they call the Youth Enterprise Support. In 8 years, they could only support 68 people. 8 years old, they could only support 68. Under the leadership of Minister Awal and the parliamentary candidate for Ejoso, John Kuma, we have supported more than 3,000 young persons. The minimum money, 10,000. The maximum, 100,000. NDC could only support 68, and even that, they were giving 4,000, 6,000 Ghana cedis. Presidential pitch, number 18. Under season 1 and 2, 20 young persons out of 800 were selected and given financial support to develop their entrepreneurial ideas into business. And recently, a check of 1 million Ghana cedis each to 20 young persons were given out to these young persons by the president himself. What did President Muhammad do to help young persons with entrepreneurial mind? It is zeal. Number 20, equipping the youth with entrepreneurial skills under NEP. Number 19, 20, funding of young entrepreneurs under NEP. Then for young persons on campuses, achievement number 21, campus business pitch program, where government launched this campus business pitch program aimed at building the entrepreneurship culture among students with the intention of catching them young to contribute meaningfully to the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda. 22, Rural Enterprise Program, also trained 11,528 persons in business development skills and supported 5,942 mastercraft persons and apprentices. 23, Green Business Initiative, 75 greenhouse, we are talking about domes, were completed for vegetable cultivation at Dawenya in Greater Accra. 1,005 young graduates were engaged at the greenhouse to revolutionize their vegetable cultivation in Ghana. Number 24, jobs under incubation and support program at Accra Digital Center. In 2009, the Ministry of Communication through the Accra Digital Center provided incubation and support for 150 startups. In addition, 3,000 youth were trained in different digital programs. 1,800 digital and 200 ancillary jobs were created. Government partnered with Oracle to provide support for 500 tech startups across 7 regions. 25, Technology Transfer, Research and Product Development Program. Under this program, Gratis Foundation in 2009 provided training for youth in the various areas. 305 for the MVTI certification. 26 technical and vocational skills training. In 2009, 3 technical and vocational skills training institutes under the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, namely the National Vocational Training Institute, MVTI, Opportunities Industrialization Center, Ghana, and Integrated Community Center for Employment Skills, trained 11,662 persons in various vocational trades. Job under the Labor Department in 2009 alone, the Labor Department placed 2,550 persons in gainful employment through the Public Employment Center. Jobs under the National Board for Small Scale Industry, the NBSSI, established 1,308 new businesses and created 2,961 new jobs across the country. The NBSSI also assisted 284 micro and small enterprises to access educational credit. 29. Planting for food and jobs. A whopping 1.9 million people, including the Ghanaian youth, under the Youth in Agric model, also benefit from this program. 30. Planting for export and rural development, PED, to diversify export and income sources. In April 2019, His Excellency the President, Nana Addo launched the Planting for Export and Rural Development Program. The program aims to promote the export of tree crops, including cashew, coffee, coconut oil, mango, rubber, and shea nut, to increase export earning. And then aquaculture for jobs and food. The Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development piloted the Aquaculture for Food and Jobs flagship initiative. 320 youth were trained and enrolled in Ashanti, Bono, and then Western region. 33. Free basic education certificate examination. Since 2017 to date, young persons who sat for BC never paid for a registration fee and asked former President Mahama and his running mate what they did for these young persons. And I interacted with a number of them who could not progress to SHS because they could not pay 75 Ghana cedis. Free West African Senior High Certificate Examination. Recently, the President also announced that our young brothers and sisters, our children who are in the various SHS, will not pay for their WASI fee, and government released 75 million for some 313,838 young persons. 35. Free learning materials. By virtue of free SHS, learning materials like core textbooks, supplementary readers, uniform, house clothes, house dresses, technical drawing equipment, PE kits, notebooks, and exercise books have been supplied for free of charge since 2017. Number 36 will be the double track system. And I'll come back to almighty free SHS last, don't worry. Double track system, the novel initiative, has been a life-saving and a destiny helper. Statistics from the Ministry of Education indicate that between 2017 and 2019 alone, about 520,000 Ghanaian children who, but for the timely intervention of the free SHS, and double track would have been thrown out onto the street, have been enrolled onto the various SHS schools across the country. In the 8 solid year rule of the NDC, over 1 million Ghanaian children, future leaders, and in this country were thrown onto the streets because of poverty and inadequate space. The incompetent Mahama and his running mate were seized with this phenomenon, but because they were bereft of ideas and because of incompetence, they could not devise any innovation like the double track system under the free SHS policy to protect and promote the future of these noble children. Unprecedented infrastructure project in the SHS and basic schools. Unprecedented. You visit all our SHS campuses and we have more than 1,002 projects. 1,002 projects. Dormitory blocks, classroom blocks, science labs, assembly halls, many, many, many more. And then in the basic institutions, basic schools, 572 projects, unprecedented, in less than 4 years. So when the NDC, when they say that because of infrastructure they cannot implement free SHS, we have implemented free SHS. This policy, we have put in place this massive infrastructure. That is how come a lot of these senior high schools are, at this moment, getting out of the double track system because of this infrastructure. 38, library infrastructure development for the academic excellence. In 2019, the Ghana Library Authority completed the construction of 2 libraries and renovated 10 existing libraries, including the Accra, Central, and then Hohoe libraries. Under the NDC, the Ghana Library Authority was virtually dead. Dead. Under the NDC. Again, we have the construction and establishment of 10 training centers of excellence for the Council for Technical, Vocational Education and Training, that is COTVET. Each center of excellence, that is a state-of-the-art complex comprising of fully equipped classrooms, laboratories, workshops, and then staff rooms as well. Number 40, 20 more to go. Stay with me, 20 more to go. Restoration of teacher trainee allowance. This was debatable, very hot. Under the NDC, the incompetent Mahama and his running mate said, even if these students, our sisters, our brothers, even if they were bad, they were not going to restore the teacher training allowance. Indeed, the running mate of the NDC now presented a memo to cabinet and defended strongly and defended the teacher training allowance must be scrapped. And she also advised President Mahama that even if the students will agitate, they will cry, he should not bring it back. Under President Akufo-Addo, we have restored the teacher training allowance and 48,000 beneficiaries so far. We have released 357 million from 2017 as we speak. Number 41, restoration of nursing training allowance. Because of the memo presented to Parliament to scrap teacher training allowance, that wind also blew past the nursing training allowance. And in a like-minded argument, the nursing training allowance was also scrapped. Today, His Excellency the President promised that he was going to restore the nursing training allowance, and indeed, It has been restored. 49,000 nurses or nursing trainees have benefited so far. In the between 2017 and January 2020, at least we are talking about a whopping 1 billion Ghana cedis paid for nursing training allowance and teacher training allowance alone. 42, restoration of allowance paid to Arabic Islamic instructors under the National Volunteer Service Program. Okunkom, again, we are grateful to your outfit. Scholarships, 43. The scholarship secretariat was virtually dead. It was virtually on its knees. The scholarship secretariat is supposed to be responsible for the feeding grant for the 5 northern regions. And there were huge debts amounting to over 50 million. Her teachers were crying. And today, as I speak, there are no arrears. And monies are released timely for the 5 northern regions, those under the feeding grant. One important thing under the scholarship. So even here under scholarship, I could have even separated it to almost about 4 or 5 achievements. The next achievement is that the scholarship secretariat under the able leadership of Kingsley Ajiman also implemented the district-based scholarship scheme. Last year, 30,000 young persons in the various institutions, tertiary institutions, benefited from the district-based scholarship scheme. This is unprecedented. This year, they have completed all the interviews. The projections are that 60,000 students again will benefit from the district-based scholarship scheme. Their full fees paid for by the scholarship secretariat. And again, our students, our brothers, our children on scholarships abroad under the scholarship secretariat, they have been receiving timely stipends. I remember the last time we went to Morocco, students there, that was somewhere in 2007, they said they had anticipated coming back home, abandoning their courses, coming back home, because almost about a year they had not received a penny from the government, and this was under the incompetent NDC regime. Number 44, training of students. Over 20,000 students have been trained under the Student Entrepreneurship Initiative rolled out by National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan. Again, our young folks in the teaching profession. 45, enhance professional image of teachers. Today, teaching jobs, the teaching job has become one of the most respected jobs in Ghana, partly because of the licensure exams. In the words of the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, as lawyers, nurses, midwives, and doctors are able to protect their profession by identifying fake practitioners. Meanwhile, the incompetent NDC regime are saying, without consulting the body itself, the body says they are happy with the licensure exams, then the incompetent former President Mahama also says, when we come, we will scrap it. Everything is about cancellation, scrapping. I don't get it. Yes, cancellation general. Cancellation general. Number 46. Professional allowance for teachers. Young persons in Ghana from this year, every teacher will be paid a professional allowance of 1,200 Ghana cedis annually as professional allowance. Timely payment of salaries of newly recruited teachers. The system whereby newly recruited teachers had to work for over 3 years. This was under the former President Mahama and his running mate, who was also the Minister for Education. Where recruited teachers had to work for 3 years before receiving their first salary has been abolished. Within 6 months after being recruited, teachers are paid their salaries and all arrears in full. 48, abolishment of 3 months, the wicked and insensitive 3 months salary pay policy. In 2015, again, the incompetent NDC government introduced a policy called 3 months salary pay policy, where teachers who had worked for 3 years and over were paid only 3 months salary due them and declared the rest as bad debt. You work for 3 years, the rest declared as bad debt. 49, the abolishment of the payment of utility bills by students. 50, enhanced teacher motivation package. The government of His Excellency Nana Addo in 2009 disbursed 52.6 million to SHS and Technical Institute for Academic Interventions and teacher. The intervention covered activities such as extra classes organized by teachers, group works for students as well. Restoration of book and research allowance. Under the NDC and the running mate, who was then the Minister of Education, the book and research allowance was scrapped, was cancelled. The NPP government has restored the book and research allowance that was cancelled by Mr. Mahama and his running mate. In furtherance of this, there is a bill before Parliament as I speak that will provide for a secured and a reasonable source of funding for the research allowances of lecturers. 52. The curricula 52. The curricula of colleges of education has also been updated to ensure that they produce graduates that will teach the well-equipped and critical thinking population we need to move the country forward. The Ministry of Youth and Sports, through the National Youth Authority, and this is a campaign promise, we have built 10 brand new, ultra-modern, 5,000 capacitor, mini stayed in all the regions. Youth resource centers with football pitch. In Ashanti region here, go to Yinayini. In Northern region, go to Yendi. In Upper East, go to Navrongo. In Upper West, go to Wa, it is there. In Volta region, go to Ho, it is there. In Eastern region, go to Koforidia, it is there. In Central region, go to Dunkwa Onofin, it is there. In Western region, go to Axim, it is there. In Greater Accra, go to the Azuma Nelson Sports Complex, where the National Youth Authority head office is. It is right behind us. Massive sports infrastructure. Did I leave any region out? In Bono Hafo, the then Bono Hafo, go to Doma. Beautiful. Doma, it is there. 54. The construction of AstroTurf by the Ministry of Zongo Development and across the country is another plan by the government to create an enabling platform for the youth in Ghana to develop trade in sports. Now, 55. As I earlier on mentioned, His Excellency the President has shown massive, great, exemplary leadership under the COVID-19 pandemic. And indeed, under the COVID-19 social support packages, free water for all Ghanaians for 3 months. This was a huge relief for Ghanaians. Free electricity for Lifeline customers and 50% discount for other customers for 3 months. Another huge relief. Then again, at number 57, is the intervention by the National Board for Small Scale Industry, where 600 million, as I speak, 600 million is being disbursed to support small scale businesses, young persons who were affected by this COVID-19 pandemic. 600 million. And as I speak, visit to all the NBSSI offices will tell you that indeed these monies are being disbursed, and young people are the greatest beneficiary of this intervention. Number 58, tax exemption for 6 months for frontline young people who were also workers. Additional allowance for 50% of their basic salary for 6 months. Before I go to number 60, I want to give you a bonus. There is no way I can address you in Ashanti region without touching roads in Ashanti region. This is bonus. Roads in Ashanti region. Ladies and gentlemen, 2020 is a year of roads. And I can't finish with number 60 without engaging you about some roads we are putting in good shape and also constructing in Ashanti region. Ladies and gentlemen, we are constrained by time, but I will only focus and recount the numerous road projects we have put in place. Now, since January 2007, periodic maintenance projects have also been awarded to the tune of 898 million Ghana cedis. In Ashanti region alone, one, we are talking about the emergency rehabilitation of the Etimeti-Mase Abu-Abuja Road, emergency rehabilitation of the Kodie Eduman Road, upgrade of the Banka Junction Jadem Road, re-graveling of the Agogo and Onimso Road, rehabilitation of Adankwame and Tensun Road. And then my own constituency, phenomenal. Anybody who is here, get to airport runabout to Bokrom Junction, straight all the way to F-Line. Now we have a dual carriage road, massive. Upgrading of the Santasi Bekwai bypass, upgrading of the Mampong, Kofiasi Road, upgrading of the Kojoso Trebom Road, and upgrading of Insuta Peposo Road. Again, we also have the rehabilitation of the Fujase Kasem Road, and then upgrading of Bekwai Town roads, upgrading of the Yoso Road as well, and then Ofuasi Kokobin to Ajamasu Road, then Fomena Junction Obuasi Road, then Konongo Agugu Road. Then you note that in Kumasi here, you start from Tech, move all the way to Ananga Junction, you move all the way to Airport Runabout, straight up. It has been that ring road. In Ashanti region, you also have in Kumasi, you have a ring road. That is a ring road, and that ring road is under rehabilitation. So that is just a bit of roads. And then number 60. Number 60. Number 60. Number 60. Number 60. Number 60 is the free SHS policy. This year alone, and this is important because the former president never believed in free SHS. His running mate never believed in free SHS. They used the rationalization of putting up infrastructure as an excuse to circumvent the implementation of the free SHS. In fact, they orchestrated 200 adverts, radio, print media, videos all over social media, 200 adverts just against free SHS. And Nana Addo in 2007, for me as a young person, I even thought Nana was even going to delay this policy a bit. I thought that maybe Nana was going to bring it the last year of his first term. But Nana in his first term, 3 months on the seat, went to Okuapeman Secondary School and declared that that same year, September, free SHS is beginning, is commencing, is starting. This year alone, the president, Akufo-Addo-led government is spending a whooping 2.2 billion. And this is what is carrying the NDC. Former President Mahama goes to say that 2.2 billion is very, it will be hard on the economy and it's going to stifle the economy. How can you say that? How can you say 2.2 billion is going to stifle the economy? Because you don't believe in it? Now a president comes in, the first year he implements it, and every year releasing close to 2.2 million to finance free SHS. This is a huge achievement, ladies and gentlemen. 289,218 beneficiaries of free SHS are in Ashanti region alone. 289,218 in Ashanti region alone. And don't forget, the free SHS also brought on board massive employment opportunities, both in the teaching sector and then the non-teaching sector. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just 60 of the achievement. 60 of the achievement. Our research team identified over 200 achievements. Today we are giving you only 60. And we are challenging the NDC and their communication bureau that they should come and tell us what the former president did for the young people in Ghana, in the area of youth and sports, in the area of education, in the area of employment, in the area of creating sustainable job opportunities for everybody. We are giving them only 1 week. 1 week. They should come and tell us. 1 week, they should come and tell us. The sterling performance of President Akufo-Addo and the Vice President Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia is evident in the lives of Ghanaian youth. This government has performed better and that any other government in the Fourth Republic. When it comes to implementation of policies, that is far-reaching and that is beneficial to the young people in this country. The NPP youth is giving the National Youth Wing, I repeat, the National Youth Wing of the NDC and their so-called communication bureau, that 1 week they should disregard their useless press conferences they've been having. They are fruitless, useless. They should rather be telling us what former President Muhammad did when he had the opportunity. Now former President Muhammad is saying that we should allow him to come so that he will correct some of the mistakes he did. I ask, ladies and gentlemen, is the presidency a platform for correcting mistakes? You were given an opportunity to be vice president. You became the president. NDC was in government for 4 years. And today you are saying you want the opportunity. Say something to the young people. You are saying, oh please, I made some mistakes. So you grant me this opportunity. Let me come and correct these mistakes. When somebody is not correcting mistakes, but is rather fulfilling the promises he made to the young people in Ghana. The youth of Ghana is grateful to the President, His Excellency Nana Addo, and for his visionary leadership. And come 7 December 2020, we will vote massively to give the NPP and President Akufo-Addo 4 more years. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say this. I entreat all young persons, everybody in Ashanti region who is eligible to register, to go out, check your registration centers, go out and register in your millions. If there's anybody you know who has turned 18 years, please hold that person's hands, go to the registration center and register the person. Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has performed far, far better. And we, the youth in the NPP and the Ghana youth, we say, one good term deserves another. One good term deserves another. 4 more to do more for you. 4 more to do more for you. I salute you all, the young people in Ghana. Thank you very much. Abusafo, sani ameka no, ye be koye twi ni so. Twi ni de hu kwan hiame. Chobo. Abusia se na ye fra mo ba ha, na nya asam tenten. Na emu ma ya asem hu hia. Ensam no ya chemu mienu. Ne di kan eye registration ya yenim ya ekoso yi. Ne toso mienu enso ebefa saying tia and what said Yakoto Abano at the Nana Addo Dankwa Kufu Addo. Abusia, Yashara see Nyamia Daruma Ekoye Pa. Oya, Ayano, Busumi 30th June, Yadibe no, 6th August, Busumi di enemy. Nyamia Daruma, and the money Koye, so we hear Electoral Commission. Figures on what they to just so far 12 days near Omenya 4.4 million. 12 days Omenya 4.4 million. Ninina muno nyameni yadana siye. Na NDC force ye chodi an kantokobesi. Na NDC force say ye chodi na oye nebesi. Ene nyamia daroma ye chodi ye do 12 day. Basa yobi amai ye gusu ye ko ye nim. Ebiem Electoral Commission adwin po na adwin pa onya yese ode be kwa chodi ewo SHS. Afo amabunu amutie me mo wo aye media mu Electoral Commission adwin po ne se ye mo fra omo SHS no enya ade a omo be ma omo apie na anu tenke trodi a ka bon sempanifo school ho omo ma da ba ko mienu bi so obi ampie no obi anko choni din enei eye covid abo boni abesin